There are currently 300 million people around the world who engage with cryptocurrencies, and about 47% of that market belongs to Bitcoin. The grandfather of the idea, its meteoric rises and falls have been put into the spotlight, and now more people than ever are engaging with the technology. But what are the potential consequences of this increased adoption? How does this asset work, and how is it being exploited? But first, we need to tackle some definitions. What is cryptocurrency? Well, cryptocurrency is a digital medium of exchange. They are issued tokens which are accounted for using an often collectively maintained digital ledger, making use of cryptography to replace trust in institutions to varying extents. In short, cryptocurrencies are digital tokens that are listed on a digital record, which seeks to replace the need for financial institutions with cryptographic puzzles and a decentralized ownership. Bitcoin is fundamentally built off of this idea. The Bitcoin white paper, its proposal of its values, explicitly points to the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model of finance, and proposes cryptography as the solution to electronic commerce. But what makes Bitcoin different to a bank? Well, simply put, when you make a transaction, it becomes included with a block of code which is unfinished. This block is then given to miners, those who are verifying the chain of transactions, who then use computers to solve the code by finding the correct hash value. Whoever finds the value first is rewarded with new Bitcoin, and that block becomes a part of the chain, the record of activity. Instead of a bank verifying your transaction, it's thousands or even millions of computers working to verify and record your transaction simultaneously, who then verify each other's work and record their own version of the chain. This process is called proof of work, and it has fundamental problems. First, the environmental impact of Bitcoin, primarily due to its reward structure, is huge. The equipment required to mine cryptocurrency is computers, and to remain competitive, miners need to replace their hardware consistently, as their current hardware becomes obsolete in about 1.5 years. In the best case scenario, increased efficiencies would cancel out increased energy use. However, research has shown that miners are more concerned with the size of their profits rather than energy efficiency. In short, they scale their operations rather than make them more efficient for higher profits. This reflects the mobilization and even more rapid turnover of materials and material relationships seen in the stock market or other electronic markets, but keep in mind this is for one asset. Redundant hardware then becomes electronic waste, around 12 kilotons, which is comparable to the waste generated by a country such as Luxembourg, with a population of only 640,000 people. That statistic doesn't account for the energy required to mine. Mining hardware consumes significant electricity to find the correct hash value, and only one solution is considered valid per block. Therefore, the energy used by all the losing miners is wasted. This results in a carbon footprint which has already surpassed that of conventional financial transaction systems, while servicing a fraction of the users. Outside of this, Bitcoin has a huge problem due to its decentralization, or in fact its lack of. Studies estimate that a majority of global mining power is controlled by 8 to 11 large miners, and these miners therefore control the chain. They control what data is inputted, meaning they could freeze user funds, erase past transactions, or launch other attacks. There is also a monopoly on the hardware side, as seen in 2018, with 75% of equipment in use being manufactured by Bitmain, one company. This is worrying due to the potential risks, as was demonstrated in 2017, when a backdoor was discovered that gave Bitmain the ability to shut down any hardware that it had produced. When the mining protocol is this compromised, it means that adopters, especially those who don't even participate in mining, are at risk of fraud. Your transactions are finalized in a way that makes it incredibly difficult to reverse, as the work to change the block would include redoing all the blocks after it. Any false data input becomes very difficult, near impossible to reverse. Ironically, the trust-based model challenged by Bitcoin is also integral to itself, only now the organizations and people who control the system are largely anonymous and unaccountable. In short, Bitcoin has huge fundamental problems which aren't easily solved, and yet makes up almost half of the cryptocurrency space. Any further adoption only creates further problems. The environmental impact of current use is detrimental to our world. The system is rife with potential fraud. While other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum have attempted to remedy some of these issues, the problem remains that Bitcoin is a large component of the ecosystem. Governments need to be investigating how to tackle these sorts of issues so that users and our world aren't negatively affected.